Let's see if I'm actually live from New York. It's Saturday night. Oh, boo, 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 boo. Shoo-doo-doo-doo-doo, na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Don't, don't. Sorry, going live. I know I'm going live, but I need to see where I'm at exactly. So I'm just signing it. Just like, okay, there we go. Shows that I'm live. I'm live, baby. Anyways, sorry. In any case, what can I say? It's been a while. I do apologize. I haven't posted. I haven't said anything. I mean, honestly, let's talk about football for a second. I mean, honestly, I was a little surprised that the Rams lost to the Eagles. I mean, they could have beaten the Eagles. They could have beaten the Eagles. Surprisingly enough, that was a little surprising. How close that game could have been technically. Eagles fans should be thanking the Giants. Eagles fans should be thanking New Yorkers right now. It's like, hey, thank you for giving us Saquon. Thanking more so Shine because Shine was an idiot. Anyways, let's see what he does with this draft class. If he picks some good, get some good picks, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, honestly, let's be honest. Last year's draft picks, some of them turned out to be pretty good. So let's see how the next set works out from that perspective. Now, the fact that Detroit lost to the Detroit Lions lost to the Washington Commanders. That threw me off. That pretty much wiped out all my parlays, quite honestly, because I thought that was an absolute given game at that point. I thought that was a given. But the fact that the way the Commanders beat Tampa Bay was like surprising in and of itself. But the fact that Washington, how they beat the Vikings, that made sense. I could see the Rams, how they were going to beat the Vikings. I kind of had an inkling that was going to happen because the Rams defense was pretty good. Sam Darnold, he was going to, basically crack under the pressure, which it turned out to be the case. It's kind of interesting to see what happens next year. Or the free agency, will he be re-signed, or will a team try to re-sign him? I think they probably saw during that playoff experience that, like, you know what, he might not be that good. Actually, he might be enough to good as a game manager, but he may not be that good to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if maybe San Francisco tries to bring him back and thinking Purdy's not their quarterback. Maybe Darnold might be, depending. It's hard to say. I don't know. All right, he's definitely not a Giants. He's no way Giants material. Sam Darnold is not Giants material. Let's be upfront. He's not Giants material. In any case, you've got that. Then you've got, of course, the Eagles beating out. So now it's going to be the Eagles versus the Commanders. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but I'm pretty sure the Eagles are going to win. That's a given. That's a gimme. Kansas City, let's be honest, they're getting very lucky with their wins. They're getting very, very lucky. I didn't think that was going to happen the way they're winning, but they're winning. I mean, now going against the Buffalo Bills, look for Bills Mafia to take them out, because quite honestly, I don't think the Chiefs will be able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs will be able to beat. You can tell I had a few of these. Will be able to beat the Buffalo Bills. I'm looking to see the Buffalo Bills versus the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I'll leave it at that. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I would love to see the. I love to. Well, I don't care about Kansas City, Buffalo. I don't mind Buffalo. I think they deserve to win because they're due. They're definitely due. The Bills fans, I think they're definitely due. I would love to see them going against and beat the Eagles or the Commanders, either or. I don't think the Commanders are going to beat the Eagles. I mean, it might make it a close game, but I think Philly's defense is going to be a little bit more tougher than Washington. But it'll be interesting to see how that works. But anyways, on to the next baseball. So I don't know what to say. This is totally unfair. I mean, being from the New York market, that is, LA, and being here living in Southern California, LA Dodgers have seemed like what an unfair advantage over everyone else. They are the new evil empire. It used to be the Yankees were the empire, evil empire. Now it's the Dodgers. I mean, I don't understand. Owen definitely signed Soto, which is great. I thought for sure we could have gotten Sasaki. I thought for sure we could have gotten Burns. Those two should have came to done. If Burns joined the Mets as well as Sasaki, I think the Mets are favored to go to the World Series at that point. They definitely are favored at that point. But now the fact that it's like the Dodgers keep signing players after player after player after player, I'm like, damn it, this is so unfair. It kind of sucks for the small market teams. I mean, honestly, this is making more sense now that there has to be a salary cap. I mean, I know players don't want to see it, but quite honestly, looking at it the way it is, there has to be a salary cap. I mean, the fact that like Otani was able to defer half his things much later, that should still go against them at this point. Quite honestly, it should still go against the Dodgers for the next couple of years at this point as well. But the fact that it's not, it's like afterwards. I mean, it doesn't make it's not fair. Quite honestly, let's be honest, it's not fair to the rest of the small market teams like Pittsburgh, like uh, I don't know. I want to say Milwaukee, well, now going to be the Las Vegas Athletics, Cleveland Indians, um, maybe the Miami Marlins, Tampa Bay Rays, of course, and then of course you've got the Seattle Mariners. I mean, it's or even Toronto Blue Jays for that matter. I mean, yeah, I think more so if you got hedge fund of players coming into each of the teams, and it changes the dynamics of changes the dynamics. But you don't have hedge fund managers, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But quite honestly, the fact that the Mets have not signed Pete Alonso kind of is, I don't know if it's concerning, but I see where Sturge is coming from as well. So stand your guns because, like, look, the guy did some really good, but last year it wasn't so great. It seems like he might be on the decline. So let some other team pick him up. Let the Cubs pick him up for all that matter. I think the Cubs, the fact that the Cubs aren't willing to sign him as well too, or Toronto, I think they're realizing maybe you know what, maybe Alonso's not worth it. Maybe he's not as much as he expected it to be. And I guess the fact that matter of fact is like the fact that Boris is his agent, it's playing against him. It seems like it definitely seems like it's playing against him. But you know what? Time will tell. Like I said, the one thing is the Mets have to rebuild their farm system. They have to, if anything. I mean, granted, you want to get for the best talent out there, but you also got to get some pitchers. So if you know that there's the best player out there, the best talent out there, go and grab them. But all the other remaining rounds, get pitchers. Just draft and draft and draft pitchers, as many pitchers as you possibly can. Because, like, let's be honest, the Mets have no pitching, and it's going to be kind of hard to find more pitchers outside of this. I mean, if you could sign some pitchers from the Dominican, from Japan, great, or even Korea for that matter, great. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Um, but yeah, the Mets have to rebuild. They have to rebuild, quite honestly. If they don't, we're going to have problems. Because Senga, I have a feeling Senga is going to be your back in the end rotation type of guy. Manaea, as good as he was last season, I don't know why, but for some reason or another, I have a feeling this season he's going to be like a one and done type of person, basically. Like people are going to, adjust to his new pitching style, and they'll hit him out, and then he'll become what he was when he was with the Giants just before the Mets signed him at that point. David Peterson, I'm hoping he progresses even further. He becomes much better. I don't know what else to say. Honestly, that Buto, I'm hoping Buto like basically strengthens himself up and becomes like the new Johan Santana, because that's what I'm hoping for. But who knows? We'll wait and see how that works out. But in any case, I'm not sure what to say about that. All right. Done with baseball, done with football. Talking about that for now. This is live, so I'm going to talk about anything and everything. What else can I talk about? Well, earlier this week, you saw basically Donald Trump getting sworn in. It happened. And, he went with all the crazy executive orders, taking the U.S. out of the Paris Accords, Paris Climate Accords, basically. When the fact that said drill, baby, drill, I'm like, okay, I don't know and he's rolling back the EV initiatives. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that plays into with Elon Musk, honestly. From a perspective, it might be good for him because you know what? All these other car manufacturers, they're not going to get the rebates. So at that point, they might be priced out at that point, and people might have no choice but to go with Tesla. But it all depends. It depends what happens. Let's see what happens. Because quite honestly, the Lucid, Rivian, can they drive their price down, or even and Polestar for that matter? Can they drive their price down? I mean, Hyundai and Kia have some decent, decent cars. The problem is their mileage isn't so great. And let's be honest, their software not so good as compared to Tesla at that point. I would say this though: if I had a choice to go with choosing a car, I would choose Lucid in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. If I had no, what's that called? No, I don't want to say gap, but no financial constraints. I would go with Lucid in a heartbeat. But that's one thing. The other thing that worries me even more, though, this is the one that I think people should be worried about. The fact that he's withdrawing the U.S. from the WHO. The fact that we're not going to be a significant contributor to the WHO. The fact they said, China has $1.7 billion, and we're, they're only submitting in $40 million, while the U.S. is submitting $350 million, something like that. And was like, well, I don't think we need to do this now. Let others pay for it. What he doesn't seem to realize and understand, when he did this, in his first term, what happened? COVID came about. You're going to say, "Oh, wait, hold on. Well, COVID came out of China. That should have been restricted. China should have been up front." Exactly the point. China was never up front. The WHO was there. If they were there, they probably could have identified it much, much earlier and shown the significance of the global impact it could have, and warn the president, warn other countries about this, and focus on it. But the fact is, the WHO had to remove themselves from certain parts of the country, other parts of the world, figuring out, you know what, we're gonna have to get out of China, we're gonna have to get out of Europe, because you know what, these are first world countries. We need to be in third world countries. Reality is, these diseases can be anywhere, and you're gonna say, well, hold on, how would they have prevented it at that point? Look, classic example, during Biden's administration, did you see outside of COVID any other major virus that came out of any other countries? Similarly, and if there was any, who contained it? The WHO basically came in, helped out, told the US, told other countries, hey, look, we got to contain this. This is going to be issues. And it was contained. And I can give you the best example, the Ebola virus. During Obama's administration, the Ebola virus out of Africa could have came here and affected us considerably. But why didn't it affect us? Why didn't it affect the global on a global scale like the way the COVID did? Well, let's be honest. The WHO was able to contain it at that point because they knew this was a big thing, and they were able to contain it. CNN was like, oh my god, they overblew it. Basically overcomplicated, not overcomplicated, but made it or blew it out of proportion, basically what it was. But the reality is the WHO was able to contain it because they had the means, they had the capital to basically observe, contain at that point. Problem is now, if all the money is being withdrawn from them, they're not going to be like these other countries. Look, honestly, China, they're not going to care. I was yeah, whatever. We don't need them here. We don't need the WHO here. We can do whatever we want. The next virus that's probably going to come out is going to come probably from the Middle East. And the WHO is not going to be there because why? Well, they have to withdraw themselves from it. And if it's going to grow out of proportion, and hit Israel eventually, then everyone's going to go, whoa, we got a problem there. And you know what? Trump's going to not my problem at that point, whatever it is. We'll see what happens. I bet you within the next 3 years, there's going to be another major virus. It's going to spread out quickly. He's going to try to close the borders again. And in reality, it's not going to do anything because it's going to be airborne and boom, it's going to hit us. And at that point, that's when we have to History will dictate, basically knowing that Donald Trump, the president, that was let COVID hit us and whatever virus hit us at that point. So it'll be interesting to see how that works at that point. Now, the other aspect of the January 6th rioters and like the mass pardon that he did. I'm not going to say anything about that because, quite honestly, it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. The man when he did that. These are people that basically attacked the Capitol, stormed the Capitol. They were insurrectionists, traitors to the country. They basically attacked police officers, law enforcement, and now they're being rewarded by being pardoned. It's like, yeah, you know what, you can do that, but don't worry, I will pardon you. And his reason was like, no, they were persecuted for no reason. I was like, yeah, there was a reason why they were persecuted, because we caught them on tape. They were on tape, on video, attacking police officers. And this is a man that's like, well, like police officers shouldn't be attacked or whatever it may be. If they should, criminals should be thoroughly punished. Here we have videos of people thoroughly, attacking police officers. And what his thing is like, yeah, but they were doing it in his name. If that's the case, then you know what? I'm going to kill people. No, I'm not. I'm going to refrain from. I retract that statement. Someone's going to go out there, kill people in the name of Donald Trump, and he's going to say, well, you were against Donald Trump. So I'm going to shoot you, or I'm going to kill you, whatever it may be. Someone's going to do that. And Donald Trump's going to be like, well, I think he should be pardoned. I have a feeling that's what, honestly, I'm not promoting it, but let's not be surprised if someone's doing it at that point. Quite honestly, someone's going to do it. I would not be surprised. Anyways, outside of that, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm getting more and more angry. I don't want to be angry. I want to be more positive, more happy, more jovial. I mean, I'll be angry more. If I'm going to be angry, I'm going to be angry about sports. I'd rather be angry about sports, my teams, the Knicks, the Mets, the Giants, the Islanders. The Knicks, we'll see what happens. I want to wait till end of February to see where the Knicks are at, basically. If they are contenders or pretenders. Right now, they're looking a little bit like contenders, but more and more I'm starting to see them as pretenders than contenders. But we'll wait and see what happens. With that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.